So, levels of awareness. The first thing we'd like to talk about is letting go, making the choice to let go. Or not, because you have that choice. So you have your list. And when you look at your list, there's some things on there that you know definitely you want to let go of. And some of you, you might be thinking, I do, but exactly, I do, but. So why would a person be choosing to hold on to something when they know it's not good for them? There's really only two reasons. Actually, there's only one. Validation and protection. Validation. Hey, this person, this place, this thing did this to me. And I should be angry, validating the experience. And the real reason, protection. And I don't want it to happen again, not from that person or any other person. Or I should feel guilty, I did it. Nobody else knows I did it, but I know I did it. If I let go of the guilt, what's going to stop me from doing it again? It's the memory and the learnings within the memory, not the negative emotions. So if it is about protection, and it is, how do you feel when you're protected? Good, safe, calm, comfortable, relaxed. Yeah. If you have feelings like, oh, how do you feel when you're protected? Oh, like I need to have my shield up. I need to be guarded. That's not feeling protected, that's protecting. So make sure there's a difference. Because if you truly felt protected, you would feel good, safe, calm, comfortable, relaxed. And if you feel that, or if you want to feel that, which one's going to give you that? Holding on to it or letting it go? Clearly letting it go, but not letting go of the memory. Just letting go of the negative emotions around the memory so the memory can make sense. Here's the memory, the learnings, the true essence of learnings within the memory. When you release the negative emotions around the memory, then the memory can make sense. And where will it go? There's only one place that it can go. It's right into your bowl of light. When we're talking about negative emotions and that bowl of light again, what's above your bowl of light? Well, a whole bunch of stuff. So all these things in my teachings cannot be in your bowl of light. They look like they're in the bowl of light, but they're not. They're above it. You see this cellophane wrapper? You have this energy field. The negative emotions cannot, because if they went in, they would dissolve and you'd get the learnings. So this is what we're showing you how to do. So when you think about the bowl of light, think about you and the true essence of you. Don't you think the true essence of you is probably that bowl of light? I think it is. Yeah. So the true essence of you and me is the bowl of light. That's the true essence of who we really are. So what are all these other things? Your memories with negative emotions around them, what are they with regards to your true essence? Yeah? This is what they are. These are the true essence of you as well. The true essence of you as well, that have not and cannot integrate into who you truly are, which is that bowl of light. Why not? It's not the memories. And obviously the true essence of the learnings within the memory, it's the negative emotions that's preventing these from becoming a part of you, the true essence of who you are. Once you release the negative emotions, the trauma around the memories, then all of those memories, and obviously the true essence of the learnings within the memory, can become a part of you. Now we're talking about being present and grounded. When you're thinking about grounding, and a lot of you have heard about grounding and hugging a tree and all that, and I actually think that that works quite well. But when you think about grounding, what's the opposite of grounding? Huh? Not being grounded. What does that mean? Well, what that means is, for us, we see or sense the spirit, your spirit outside of your body, hanging outside. Is there a problem with that? And normally when we ask these yes or no questions, the answer is yes and no. So is there a problem with that? Well, what's the positive aspect of hanging outside? Well, imagine some trauma happened in your life and you wanted to escape and your spirit kind of went outside a little bit and you're hanging outside your body. So is that a good thing? In my opinion, yes. not really sure what you'd have done if you had to go through all of this stuff in the physical world, so to speak. So you hung outside and kind of distanced yourself and nulled it a little bit. So now, what's the problem with that? Well, when you hang outside your body, you disconnect yourself from the physical world. That's one. And you're not allowing the energy, the mana, the life force that's around you to flow all the way through your extremities. So people start having problems from the midsection and below. Now there's two types of people. A good person and a not so good person. So a good person, when they're hanging outside their body, they're not going to hurt others. They might hurt themselves, but they're not going to hurt others. However, an angry person inside their body, when they hang outside and they're disconnected, they can hurt others. Yeah? Why? Because they're disconnected. They don't know their actions, the effects of their actions on others. Yeah? Having said that, would we ground people when we see them outside their body? Absolutely not. Why? Because for right now, unless they've had some clearing, some resolve within, they're, so to speak, better off outside. However, once you have a clearing, it's as good, if not better, to be inside than out. And whenever we get ready to do the clearing, the first thing we do before the clearing starts is to ground you. We will ground you. And how do we ground you? Imagine this is you and you're standing in front of us. We would reach above the top of your head and just ask Spirit to bring your spirit. Ask Heaven, really, to bring your spirit all the way into your body and ground you there. So that when you go through the clearing, it's mind, body, and spirit. Make sure your spirit is all the way in your body. Now, some of the other levels of awareness that we would like to cover is the mind does not process negatives. These things that we're going to be covering kind of help you think things through and notice some things in your life that you can change. Just subtle changes. The mind does not process negatives. So what does that really mean? That's one of the laws of the mind. What does that mean? You cannot make a picture of not. So here's an example. In Hawaii, and we're working with Hawaiians, the local people, we always use the term poke and poi, because everybody knows what poke and poi is. However, for you, we could use a cat or a dog or a green tree and an elephant or something. So I'm going to use a green tree and an elephant. A pink elephant. So you can think of anything you want, just don't think of a pink elephant, pink elephant, pink elephant, pink elephant, green tree, green tree, green tree. How many were you able to do that? And some of you might think you did. But for most of you, even though you thought you did, don't think of what? A pink elephant or a blue tree, whatever. So before you made that shift, you had to say, I'm not going to think of, you already did. So how do we use that law of the mind effectively? Let's see how we use it quite well or quite often ineffectively, or we get what we don't want. And here's some examples. You see kids playing in the backyard and having fun, and you don't want them to go on the street and play, so what do? You tell them, hey, don't go on the street and play. What do you think is going through their mind at that moment? Street play? Oh, never thought of that. And if you want to use a little neuroscience, what's happening to those neurons in the brain? They're firing off. So if you want them to continue playing in the backyard and having fun, can you just say, just keep playing in the backyard and having fun? Does one positive equal a negative? And the answer is no. And there's science behind that. Which one has more activity? Which one's newer? Something new, firing off more neurons. So you actually have to say it about 3 times. So don't go on the street and play. Oops. Continue playing in the backyard and having fun. Everybody listen up. Just keep playing. Continue playing in the backyard and having fun. Just keep playing. Continue. And then you map over those amplified neurons. Excellent. So now here's a couple examples that real life examples. You know, a few years ago we seen a 2-3-year-old running in the store, and yes, it was a boy, and the mom's right behind him. Didn't I tell you not to touch that? I told you 3 times not to touch that, and you touched it anyway. Could you imagine the mom sitting there and going, or, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. And all the kid sees is touch that, touch that, touch that, because it doesn't process the don't. So what does the kid do? And he knows it's wrong. Touch it, and takes off. What should the mom have done? Stop. Come over here. That's a different command to the mind. Stop. That's different than touch. Or I want to change a habit. I'm afraid of public speaking and I want to overcome it. So what do? I'm going to create a mantra, an affirmation. What is it? I'm not afraid of public speaking. So for those of you that were ever afraid of public speaking or are afraid of public speaking, if you've ever used that mantra, it doesn't work. Why? Because you get exactly what you're asking for. Afraid of public speaking. Your mind, as well as everybody else's, does not process the negative part. Don't. And it makes a picture of being afraid of public speaking. So what can I do? Well, this is what you can do. Write down your fear. Afraid of public speaking. Or I don't want to be afraid of public speaking. Why? Because I'm nervous, I'm tense, my throat gets dry, I got a ball in my throat, my legs start shaking, whatever it may be, and list all of those things. And then off to the side, make another column that says, I don't want to be afraid of public speaking. What do I want? I want to be calm and relaxed when I speak in public. Instead of the throat, I want my throat to be expressive, allow the words to just flow. It feels just like swimming in the ocean, air flowing easily and effortlessly through my mind, through my body. Whatever, every single one of those, pick a positive aspect and then focus on that. Focus on the positive aspects of speaking in public. Yeah? In other words, ask for what you want and not what you don't want. Now here's another thing about boundary versus problem. Think about that. Boundary versus problem. So let's say this right here is a problem. If that's the problem, with a what? It doesn't matter, but a person, a place, a thing, what? Problem. If this is a problem, then what's not a problem? This is not a problem. This is not a problem. I'm not the problem. You're not the problem. And within not problem is possibility and solution. However, imagine this room is the problem and you're in it. There is no possibility, let alone solution. Of course, you know there is, but not inside the problem. So how do you get outside the problem to possibility and solution? Well, this is how it works in the real world. Sometimes a person might have to, interrupt your pattern, of course, your negative thinking pattern. And it could be a person that just comes into you. It could be a co-worker, a child, a spouse, somebody came in and said something. Or watching something on TV, reading a book, going to a counselor, a psychiatrist or psychologist, somebody. And what they did was they broke you and they gave you a different perspective. And one of the tools, I'll ask you, have you learned a tool today that could put you in possibility and solution virtually all the time? The answer is yes. Just think about it. It's the H word, Hakalau. That's correct. Hakalau will always put you in possibility and solution. Why? Because you cannot hold a negative thought in your head. Yeah? Now, after I've just told you that, I'm going to tell you that when people are stuck in their problem, Hakalau almost always does not work. I know it's a contradiction. I just told you it always works, and I'm telling you when they're stuck in the problem, Hakalau does not work. Almost always. Why? Here's why. Because they don't use it. And you might be thinking, why don't they use it? Exactly. Why don't they use it? And there's an answer to that as well. because they think Hakalau is a really good tool. So they put it in their toolbox. And their toolbox, when they get stuck in the problem or the room of the problem, it's not in the room. The toolbox is not in the room. So the other thing is, well, I'm just going to put it in my back pocket, so it'll always be there with me. And then when they get stuck in the problem, guess what? They forget they have pockets. However, if you use the Hakalau concept as a daily lifestyle change, being in peripheral vision expanded awareness Hakalau, which puts you essentially in a light alpha state, the zone for athletics, the zone for learning, the zone for life and living, and you get stuck in the problem now, how likely is it for you to use Hakalau then? Very. Why? Because you always use it. You just forgot momentarily. Yeah? So, another note, boundary versus problem, Hakalau, all the time, Hakalau will work. The next one is logical levels. When we talk about logical levels, let's talk about a problem. Yeah? So, this represents problem, and it has a logic to it. No matter how illogical it is to everybody else, to the person that's experiencing the problem, it has to have some logic. Even the person that was afraid of snakes, right? So for me, being afraid of snakes and passing out, that's somewhat of an acceptable behavior. Okay, that's okay. If there was a real snake in the room and you passed out, okay. That wouldn't be my choice. I would exit, but passing out is understandable at some level. However, seeing a picture and having the same response, or seeing it in movies or a squiggly line on a napkin, that's clearly pushing the boundaries of logic to virtually everybody. Yeah? So here's the problem. Here's the person. The person is generally at the same logical level as the problem. Why? Because it's their problem. So imagine you. Have you ever solved problems in your life before? Virtually all of you should be saying yes. Smaller ones, of course. But yes, I have. How did you do that? So here's the problem, and here's you. You're locked in the same logical level as the problem. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to process and resolve this issue, this problem, at the same logical level. Somehow, you raised your logical level with some advice from a friend, seeing a counselor, a spouse, whatever. Raise your logical level, process through the problem, and resolve it on your own. Well, why can't I do that with all my problems? Because some of the other problems, that problem might have been more like this one. Yeah? This size. Process through. The other problem that you're having trouble with is more like this size. Yeah? And it might be connected to a whole bunch of other stuff. Then you're going to have some challenges. Yeah? So that's why people have to see others. When you go to see others, it's not a sign of weakness. I think it's actually a sign of intelligence. It's a little too big for me. I need assistance. Why can somebody help me and I can't help myself? Because they're at a higher logical level than your problem. Why? First of all, it's not their problem. Here's the problem and here's you. Where's the person that's going to help you? They're at a higher logical level. So when they come to your problem, they see it from a different perspective. If they actually had a process to use, which is what we're going to show you today, we haven't got to that part yet, they can say, okay, they'll raise your logical level, raise in your logical level, and then say, okay, George, John, Mary, Jane, just do this process, and then we'll check on it later. So you go, okay, do one. We have 10 things, 10 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if they had a way to test what you were working on, then that would be even better. Do we have that? Yes, your checklist list, the things that you wrote down. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of being undeserved, fear of being unworthy. We have those. So when you're done, it should have been one of the things that you listed. You can go back and check it. However, basically, boundary, logical level is the problem. It's a sign of strength, in my opinion, going to see somebody for help. Now let's talk about the purpose of your mind, your unconscious mind. And we like to use a little bit of Star Trekkiness here, like the prime directives. So there's 4 prime directives. There's more, but we'll just cover 4. So number 1 is protection. Now we've kind of covered that a bit already. It's to preserve and protect the body from real or imagined danger. Which one? Real or imagined? Yes. Real or imagined. Because for the person that is experiencing the danger, whether it is real or imagined, it's real to them. Yeah? Take the lady who was afraid of snakes. Is that a real fear? Yeah, if there was a real snake in the room. Was an imagined fear. Definitely when she was looking at pictures and seeing things on TV. And of course, definitely when she's seen a squiggly line on a napkin. Yeah, and she actually knew that. But the behaviors were built there. Built already in, and she just responded. That's all she did was respond. So, programming. So that's 1. Preserve and protect the body from real imagined danger. Number 1. The other thing it does is it suppresses memories. Why? Why does it suppress memory? Is that a good thing? Absolutely. Why? Because I have to take care of my wife, my kids, my husband, I got to go to school, I got whatever, I have to do this, whatever this may be. So I suppress it. Good. Yeah? So that part that suppressed it, the part of you that suppressed it, what did it suppress with? Energy, mana, life force. That same part knows that it's unresolved and we need to resolve this. So it'll bring it up to you to resolve. In a day, a month, a week, a year, a couple of years down the road, brings it up for your awareness and say, okay, Kanoa, George, Mary, let's resolve this now. And you go, okay. You have a process, you move through it, and you move on. Most of the time, that's not what we say. What do we say? Why am I thinking of that now? And you suppress it again. This time, though, you might have to use a little more energy. And then, if you don't want to deal with that, your psyche is saying, what about this one? Nope. What about this one? Nope. 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 What do you want to deal with? Nothing right now. That's what you said last year. Yep. Repeat. Most of the time, we don't have a process to resolve these issues. And you're going to learn one today. However, when you think about that, we often make, as we get older, when you're younger, it's a lot easier to suppress these things. But when you get older and they keep coming for resolution and you keep trying to suppress them, you tend to lose the energy that you have. We make comments like, oh, I just don't have the energy that I had before. I don't know. So I believe that we essentially have the same amount of energy that we had before, pretty much. But if you have a whole bunch of energy suppressing this memory and a whole bunch of, and then a whole bunch of here, a whole bunch of here, why would you be depleted or feel depleted in the present? Of course. Where should all your energy be, by the way? This is where I think it should be, in the present directed towards your future. How do you get that? How do you do that? Well, let's say, here's a memory, and you release the negative emotions around the memory. The negative emotions around the memory. The energy that you had suppressing those negative emotions, where does it go? Just goes back to where it should be, in the present directed towards your future, which just happens to be the bowl of light, by the way. So You did this one? You did this one? You did all of these? Whoa. You should be feeling pretty good by now. Yeah? But how do you know you've resolved those issues? That's the list. How do I check? Thinking about it. Muscle testing. And then in a future video, we'll show you how to go into the memory. Does that make sense? Now the fourth one, the fourth prime directive is holding on to negative emotions is in direct conflict with the first one. What is the first one? Preserve and protect the body from real or imagined danger. Holding on to negative emotions is in direct conflict with preserve and protecting the body. Why? Because you got this stuff. Yeah. That stuff doesn't work. Interferes with a whole bunch of areas in your life. Now, we've been talking quite a bit today, and I'd like to cover another concept, confusion. Is confusion a good state to be in? Think about it. It's not comfortable. However, when you are confused, do you think you're learning something? Well, you're definitely exposed to something new. And if you actually applied yourself in that area, you probably would learn something new. But you know it's new, right? Confusion is a very good state to be in my opinion. As long as you process through to understanding. Confusion to understanding. Because if you're confused and you stop, you'll always be confused. I know that I've been learning things in my life. And I thought that I was learning something and I was a little confused, if not a lot. And I tried to put on the, I got it, no problem face. And it was clearly recognized because I was probably putting out the energy like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ever going to get this. Don't worry, Kanoa, you'll get it. Just hang in there. And then I did. And later on, I find myself teaching the same thing to others. And I can pick up the, oh my God, I'm not really sure if I'm ever going to get this. You recognize the deer in the headlights look. Yeah. And you just tell them the same thing. Continue to process through. So if you feel a little confused today, we're putting out a lot of information. And there's more to come. So you're in the right spot. Process through to the other side, which is what? Understanding. Now let's talk about forgiveness. For a lot of us, we have heard this term before. Forgive and forget. Just forgive them, Kanoa, and forget all about it. And try that on. Forgive and forget. See if it resonates with you. Because it shouldn't. Why not? Because if something happened and you were going to forgive the person and you forgot all about it, if you truly forgot about it, where's the learnings? If this is the event that happened, and this is a big one, right? So if you think that there's a big event, there's probably a bunch of them tied in. There's a lot of learning in here. If you actually just forgave them and forgot all about it, where are the learnings? They're not here. They're not in the bowl of light. Yeah. That's why what you really do when you say, I'm going to forgive you and forget all about it, a part of you jumps out and goes, here's you. And then here's another part going, no way. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to keep all the learnings, right? You forgive and forget. I'm going to protect us. Remember, number one reason, protection. But I'm going to protect you with all the negative emotions attached to those memories. And what does that really mean? Never get the learnings. Never get the learnings to go into the bowl of light, right? Because it's got the negative emotions. And when you forgive them, whose healing does it complete? It completes your own healing. It gets the negative emotions out of your mind, body, spirit, and soul.